My wife Jennifer and I met at a summer barbecue at my friend Mark's place. She was wearing a blue dress and her smile lit up something inside me. After 3 months of dating, I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. We got married in a small beachside ceremony with just our closest friends and family. Subscribe to the channel and hit like to get more stories like this. For 15 years, we built a life together. I started my construction company almost from scratch. Sleepless nights, endless planning, meetings with investors. Jennifer always said she admired my determination. When I finally landed my first big contract for a commercial project, we celebrated with champagne in our backyard. "You're going to go far, Richard," she said that night. And I believed we'd go far together. As the company grew, I bought our dream home in Pine Ridge, a quiet neighborhood with friendly neighbors. Jennifer seemed happy decorating every room. On Friday nights, we cooked together. On Sundays, we took walks in the nearby park. We had our routine, our shared dreams, our life. Until we didn't have it anymore. It started subtly. Jennifer began going out more with work friends I had never met. Her wardrobe got a makeover with outfits I had never seen her wear at home. Her cell phone now had a password. When it rang, she would step away to answer it. On our anniversary, I booked a table at her favorite Italian restaurant. I waited for 2 hours. Her messages went unanswered. When she finally got home at 11 p.m., she explained she was with colleagues handling an emergency at work. Her perfume was different that night. A month later, I found a hotel receipt while doing her laundry. An executive suite, 2 glasses of wine, breakfast for 2. The date matched a so-called business trip. I decided not to confront her right away. Something inside me wanted to understand the full extent of the problem before making any decisions. I hired a private investigator. The photos arrived 3 days later, Jennifer walking into a hotel with a younger man. Brian, I later discovered. A real estate agent with debts and gambling problems. In the following weeks, the investigator recorded their conversations. They were planning a future together, a future funded by my years of hard work. "He'll be devastated when you ask for a divorce," Brian said in a recording. "The courts will give you half of everything. We can buy that beach house we've always wanted." The betrayal was one thing. The calculated planning to financially exploit our divorce was something completely different. Instead of confronting Jennifer, I scheduled a meeting with William, my lawyer. "You're too calm for someone who's just discovered an affair," he commented as we reviewed our prenuptial agreements. "Crying won't help me now," I replied. "I need solutions." William explained my options. Although our company had grown during the marriage, I had some legal protections. He suggested a series of measures to safeguard my most important assets, including transferring some shares to a newly created holding company and moving forward some planned investments. In the following weeks, I worked quietly to protect what I had built. Every day I came home, had dinner with Jennifer, and pretended I didn't know she was texting Brian while we chatted about trivial things. Until one Wednesday when she sat down in front of me at breakfast. "Richard, we need to talk." I slowly put down my newspaper. "Sure, what's up?" "I'm not happy." Her hands were trembling slightly. "I haven't been happy for a long time." "I get it." I kept my voice calm. "I want a divorce." Jennifer looked like she was ready for tears, yelling, maybe pleading. What she got was a sigh of relief. "All right," I replied calmly. Her face registered confusion. "All right? That's it?" "Jennifer, I know about Brian. I know about the Meridian Hotel. I know about your plans to take half of what I built." The color drained from her face. "How did you? Does that matter?" "What matters is that I already talked to my lawyer. The divorce papers will be ready next week. You can stay in this house until everything is finalized. I'm moving into the apartment above the construction company's office. The look of shock on Jennifer's face as she left breakfast was the first genuine moment of satisfaction I'd felt in months. It wasn't about revenge, it was about reclaiming my power, about not being the victim she thought I was. The following week, we met at William's office with Jessica Anderson, her lawyer. Jennifer walked in wearing a navy suit I'd never seen her in before, probably bought just for the occasion. Her confident look quickly faded when William opened his folder. "As you can see," William started, "we've drafted a pretty reasonable settlement proposal given the circumstances." Jessica flipped through the documents. "This is unacceptable. Mrs. Thompson is entitled to half of the assets acquired during the marriage, including the construction company that has grown significantly over this period." William smiled calmly. "Normally, yes. But there are complicating factors." He slid a second folder across the table. This one contained substantial evidence of infidelity on Mrs. Thompson's part, including records of hotel meetings paid with our joint cards and money transfers to Mr. Brian Mitchell's accounts. Jennifer turned pale. Our eyes met for the first time that day. Her eyes showed not remorse, but indignation at being caught. "Besides," William continued, "we have recordings of conversations where Mrs. Thompson and Mr. Mitchell explicitly discuss plans to financially exploit this divorce. Conversations that would be very interesting to a judge." "That's invasion of privacy," protested Jessica. "Actually," William replied calmly, "all the evidence was obtained legally. Mr. Thompson hired a licensed investigator after finding initial proof of the infidelity." I watched Jennifer as she whispered furiously with her lawyer. The plan she had so carefully constructed was crumbling right before her eyes. "We need a moment," Jessica said, getting up. When they returned, the combative stance had disappeared. Jennifer avoided my gaze as Jessica proposed a revised agreement, much more modest than her initial demands. In the end, Jennifer got a fixed sum that represented about 15% of our joint assets, plus her car and some furniture. The house would be sold and the profits split. Most importantly, my construction company would remain entirely under my control. While we were signing the final documents, Jennifer finally spoke directly to me. "You planned all of this, didn't you? Ever since you found out. I learned something from you, Jennifer. The importance of strategic planning." She pressed her lips together. "Brian was right. You're not as sentimental as you seem. Be thankful for that. A sentimental man would have made this process much more painful for all of us." I left that room feeling a weight lifted off my shoulders. It wasn't the end I had imagined for our marriage, but perhaps it was an end we deserved. 3 weeks later, while I was packing the last items in my new apartment, I got a call from Thomas Brown, the local police chief and an old friend. "Richard, I need to let you know. Brian Mitchell was seen drinking at the roadside bar, loudly talking about settling scores with you. He's clearly upset. Thanks for the heads up, Thomas. I'll keep an eye out." I had barely hung up the phone when I heard violent knocking at the door. Through the peephole, I saw Brian, drunk, disheveled, and furious. "I know you're in there, Thompson. Open this damn door." I took a deep breath, turned on the recording on my phone, and partially opened the door while keeping the security chain on. "Brian, you're drunk. Go home." His face was red with anger and alcohol. "You ruined everything. Jennifer and I had plans. Plans that depended on my money. Get out before things get worse for you." He kicked the door forcefully, breaking the chain. When he pushed his way in, I saw the metallic glint in his hand, a hunting knife. "I'm gonna show you what happens when someone messes with my life." 15 years of practicing jujitsu weren't for nothing. When Brian lunged at me, I dodged his attack, grabbed his wrist, and with a quick move, twisted his arm behind his back and pinned him against the wall. The knife clattered to the floor. "I don't want to hurt you," I said calmly as he struggled. "But you broke into my home with a weapon. This is assault, at the very least." I kept him pinned with an arm behind his back while I used my phone to call Thomas. Within 10 minutes, 2 police cars were parked outside the building. The officers handcuffed Brian as he shouted incoherent threats. "You're lucky Richard knows how to defend himself," Thomas commented, taking down my statement. "Many others wouldn't have made it." "He needs help, Thomas. He's clearly out of control. He's going to spend some time in jail to cool off. Breaking and entering an assault with a knife are no joke." After the police took Brian away, I sat down exhausted on the couch. That episode marked the real end of the chapter with Jennifer. But it also left me with an uneasy feeling. What would I do now with the shattered pieces of my old life? The next day, I decided to dive into work. Our construction company had landed an important contract to develop a community center in a poor neighborhood in town. It was exactly the kind of significant project I needed, something that would make a positive impact beyond profit. During the first planning meeting, I met Sarah Wilson, the lead architect for the project. Unlike most of the professionals I used to work with, Sarah challenged my ideas with solid technical arguments, suggested innovative alternatives, and pushed for sustainable solutions even when they cost more. "The center needs to reflect the community's identity," she insisted during our third meeting, spreading drawings across the table. "These big windows aren't just for looks, they'll allow natural light that will cut energy consumption by about 30%. I watched how she talked with genuine passion about the project's social impact. It wasn't just another job to her, but an opportunity for transformation. "Do you always care so much about your projects?" I asked as we reviewed blueprints late into the night at the office. She smiled, adjusting her glasses. "I believe that buildings shape lives. I can't design something knowing I could have done better." In the following weeks, we met regularly to discuss the project. Our conversations often went beyond professional topics, revealing shared interests in literature, hiking, and Thai food. Sarah was smart, straightforward, and completely different from Jennifer. One Saturday, while we were visiting the community center site, Sarah asked about my divorce. The news had spread in the local professional circles. "You don't have to answer if you'd rather not," she quickly added. "I just wanted you to know that I don't buy those rumors." "What rumors exactly?" "That you were ruthless in the divorce. That you manipulated the assets to leave your ex with nothing." I chuckled softly. The truth is rarely as simple as the rumors, isn't it? While we walked across the site, I gave a brief account of what happened. Sarah listened carefully, without judging or offering empty advice. "You know what impresses me," she finally said. "It's not that you protected yourself legally. It's that after all this, you don't seem bitter." I had my moments, I admitted. But I found that dwelling on the betrayal would just keep me stuck. I'd rather build something new. Sarah smiled. "Like this community center?" "Exactly like this center." A few weeks later, Sarah and I had dinner together for the first time outside of a work setting. We didn't call it a date, it was just two colleagues sharing a meal. But when I walked her to her apartment and she hesitated for a moment before saying goodbye, I realized we were both considering possibilities beyond just a professional partnership. "Richard," she said, "I think we should set some rules if we continue hanging out like this." "What kind of rules?" "First, no pressure. You just got out of a complicated marriage. Second, we keep our professional relationship intact no matter what. And third," she smiled, "you need to let me pay my share next time." I agreed to all the conditions, admiring her clarity. With Sarah, there were no emotional games or hidden agendas, just refreshing honesty. While driving home that night, I realized I was smiling. For the first time in many months, I was looking at the future with real hope. The divorce that should have destroyed me was, ironically, paving the way for a better version of my life. The community center project was moving along quickly. The foundations were done, and the first structures were starting to take shape when I got a call from Thomas. "Richard, I'm calling to let you know that Brian Mitchell is getting released tomorrow. He served for months and is getting out for good behavior and prison overcrowding." I felt a twinge of tension. Does he still pose any threat? It's hard to say. While in custody, he took part in rehabilitation programs for anger management and substance abuse. His therapist says he's made progress, but... Thomas hesitated. I thought you should know. Thanks for the heads up. I'll take precautions. After hanging up, I reflected on Brian. The anger I felt when he barged into my apartment had faded. What remained was a clearer understanding. Brian was both a victim and an aggressor in that situation. Jennifer had manipulated him with promises of easy money, exploiting his weaknesses, just like she tried to do with me. The next day, I got in touch with the court and requested a preventive restraining order. Not out of fear, but as a precaution. I also scheduled a meeting with Mark, my partner in the construction company. Mark, you mentioned we needed another supervisor for the Northern team, right? Yes, we're overloaded in that area. Why? Do you know someone? Actually, I do. Brian Mitchell. Mark looked at me as if I had suggested hiring an alien. The guy who tried to stab you? Your ex-wife's lover? That Brian Mitchell? Exactly. Richard, did you hit your head on a construction beam recently? Listen, Brian has real estate sales experience. He knows about properties, structures, valuations. He's getting out of prison today and will probably have a hard time finding a job with his criminal record. If we give him a supervised chance. That's a terrible idea, Mark interrupted. The guy hates you. Maybe. Or maybe he just needs a chance to rebuild his life, just like all of us at some point. Mark shook his head, resigned. Do what you want. It's your neck on the line. But he'll be on probation for 6 months and won't work on any projects directly under you. Fair enough. 3 days later, Brian answered my call with noticeable skepticism. How did you get my number? Thomas gave it to me. We need to talk. It's not a trap or a threat. Just a conversation. Why should I talk with you? Because I have a proposal that might interest you. After a long silence, he agreed to meet me at the cafe near Central Park, a public place, safe for both of us. When I arrived, Brian was already there, sitting in a secluded corner. He looked thinner, with deep bags under his eyes and a cautious expression. Prison clearly hadn't been kind to him. Thanks for coming, I said as I sat down. Get to the point, Thompson. What do you want? I'm offering you a job. Supervisor of operations for the Northern division of my construction company. Brian looked at me, searching for any sign of a joke. Is this some kind of sick joke? No. It's a legitimate offer. An initial salary of $62,000 a year, full benefits, and training included. You have real estate background, know about structures, know how to negotiate.